Welcome to a brand new episode of Johnson's Court. I'm excited to bring to you today a brand new episode of talking about the AFC Championship game and the NFC Championship game. Last week we had a couple games that decided who were going to make it to the championship game. And first, I will just go ahead and get right into it. The first championship game that will be played is the NFC Championship game, and that is between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Green Bay Packers. Now, this is two older GOAT quarterbacks going head-to-head against each other, which is super exciting to watch. I can't wait to see it today. And, Tom Brady on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming from the Patriots that he's been on for his whole career, and Aaron Rodgers, who has been on the Green Bay Packers for his whole career. So it's going to be a great game. I'm excited to watch that, but let me just tell you how they got there. So last week, Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played Drew Brees and the Saints. And honestly, I didn't think Tom Brady was going to win that game. I thought Drew Brees was going to get the best of them because they beat them twice earlier in the season, and I thought they could beat them one more time and sweep them, but that was not the case. And so let me just give you a little bit of stat line of what happened here. So passing yards between the quarterbacks, Tom Brady went 18 for 33, 199 yards and 2 touchdowns. Drew Brees went 19 for 34, 134 yards, 1 TD, and 3 interceptions. Now, I'll go back to those 3 interceptions later because they were very critical and very important. Rushing yards, Leonard Fournette had 17 carries for 63 yards, and Alvin Kamara had 18 carries for 85 yards with no touchdowns. And then receiving, Bray had 4 receptions and 50 yards, and Smith had 3 receptions, 85 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So this game, I figured it was going to be kind of high scoring, and the final score ended up being 30-20. The Saints were able to score first with 2 field goals, and then Tom Brady and the Buccaneers were able to get on the board with 3, and then the first touchdown didn't come until the second quarter when Tom Brady threw a 3-yard touchdown pass to Mike Evans. So then they were able to take the lead, and they just kind of never looked back after that. So Drew Brees threw 3 interceptions, and I figured this game was going to come down to who had more turnovers, and that's exactly what happened. Even though Drew Brees had 1 touchdown, he had 3 interceptions, and if you can capitalize on turnovers, then you will win the game. And that's exactly what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did, and they were able to get their first win versus the Saints this season and came in the playoffs in the critical time of when they needed it. So they ended up winning 30-20, and Tampa Bay moved on to the NFC Championship, and now Tom Brady will be facing the Green Bay Packers. Now let me give you a little backstory on how the Packers got into the NFC Championship game. So they had the first round bye, and so last week they played the Los Angeles Rams with Jared Goff coming freshly back from a thumb surgery, actually, because the other quarterback got hurt in the round before with a concussion and kind of a neck injury, so he wasn't able to play. But Jared Goff did his best. He threw 21 for 27. He had 174 yards with 1 touchdown, and Aaron Rodgers was able to do 23 for 36, 296 yards, so almost 300 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Rushing, I think his name is Cam Akers. He had 18 carries, 90 yards, and 1 touchdown, so almost 100 yards on the game, which is really good. I know he's either a rookie or sophomore, something like that, so very young in the league. Aaron Jones, he had 14 carries, 99 yards, and 1 touchdown. So running-wise, they both kind of did the same. And then receiving yards, Reynolds had 3 receptions for 65 yards, and Lazard had 4 receptions, 96 yards, and 1 touchdown. So in this game, Aaron Rodgers, it was at home, Lambeau Field, and Aaron Rodgers was just able to play a pretty good game, with the box score being first quarter they were tied 3-3, and then Green Bay kind of just pulled away after that, scoring 16 in the second quarter with the Rams only scoring 7, Rams scoring 8 in the third with Green Bay only scoring 6, and then the Packers were able to score a touchdown to seal it in the fourth with the Rams scoring no points. And so they were able to shut them out in the fourth, which is very critical because they were down and they needed to score and they couldn't. So the final score ended up being 32-18. And, the Los Angeles Rams are a very young team, and Aaron Rodgers has been to the Super Bowl before. He's been in the playoffs lots of times, and the older quarterback and the experience, they were able to win and move on to the NFC Championship. So now I'm going to give my prediction between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Green Bay Packers. So I believe that the Green Bay Packers are going to win this game. And I think it's going to be a close one. I think that Tom Brady is going to put up a hell of a fight with all the offensive weapons he has. So it should be a great game. Aaron Rodgers knows how to play. Even if he doesn't really have too good of receivers or he doesn't have very many or whatnot, Aaron Rodgers is just such a great quarterback. He's able to make something out of nothing. So I think that with all that being said, this is Tom Brady's first year on a new team, but he has a lot of offensive weapons. And, they made the playoffs and that was expectations, but can they make it to the Super Bowl? We'll see, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Green Bay is going to win. Let's see. I think it might be a high-scoring game. I think it might be 34-31. So let's say it's a 3-point game because I think it's going to be that close. Because I think Tom Brady's going to have a day because he's got that playoff experience as well. He's got 6 Super Bowl rings, so he knows what he's doing. But being on a new team, we'll see how their chemistry works. So, like I said, I got Green Bay winning this, and I'll move on to the AFC Championship game, which is the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills. Now, Kansas City Chiefs were the first seed in the AFC, and they played the Cleveland Browns last week, which beat the Steelers the week before that. I'm sorry for all your Steeler fans out there. Sorry to Nick Kraft. I know you said the Steelers were just a great team this year, and, they won like 11 straight, and then, they just went on a downhill from there. So, need to do something, need to figure something out, because if you're going to win 11 straight and, just kind of shit the bed, not a good thing to see. So, the Chiefs were able to, on the day, have 315 yards of passing yards, 123 yards rushing, and total yards 438. So Cleveland Browns were able to have 196 passing yards, which almost 200 on the day, so that's pretty good. Baker Mayfield put up quite a show. 112 yards rushing and 308 yards total. But I'll give you the individual stats of passing. So Patrick Mahomes had 21 for 30, 255 yards, and 1 touchdown. But then he got hurt with a concussion. I believe it was in the third quarter, and he didn't come back to play. So they put in their backup quarterback, and he was 6 for 8, 66 yards, and he threw an interception. But they had the lead, yes, they did trust their defense, but then they were able to make a last-second pass on 4th down and 4th and inches and win the game. And so that was crazy. I was watching the game, and so it was really cool to see just all that playing out, because usually, you're like, hey, my defense is going to stop them and whatnot, but they trust their offense, and that's what happened. But on the Brown side, Baker Mayfield was 23 for 37, 204 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So he needed to play better, but Nick Chubb ran for 13 attempts, 69 yards, and no touchdowns. But Kareem Hunt did have 6 attempts and 32 yards, and he had 1 touchdown. So at least they were able to get a touchdown on the ground. And then the only touchdown that came, the only touchdown that came through, I was going to say the air, but yeah, was to Travis Kelce. He had 8 receptions for 109 yards. But Tyreek Hill also had 8 receptions for 110 yards with no TDs, but that dynamic duo is great to see. Wonderful. Very good together. So, and then the only touchdown that came through the air for the Browns was Jarvis Landry with 7 receptions, 20 yards, and a TD. So, this just kind of came down to a game of inches, and that's exactly what happened, and the Chiefs were able to pull it off. So the Chiefs were able to win and go to the AFC Championship game. And now let me talk about the Buffalo Bills versus the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Buffalo Bills have been playing great all season long. I think Jared Allen is definitely in MVP talks. Bills have been playing phenomenal this year, and so I'm glad to see them and their success and what they are doing. And then the Baltimore Ravens were playing pretty well. They were 11-5 on the year, and they they played really well. Lamar Jackson, I think he was the first player to have back-to-back 1,000 rushing yards as a quarterback on the season. So back-to-back. So it was really cool to see. Hasn't happened in very long. Or no, I said first time. So yeah, it hasn't happened ever. But I know Michael Vick was, a very good rushing quarterback, and we haven't seen anybody since him. So it's really cool to see Lamar Jackson in the league and do what he can. But this game just kind of started off slow, like kind of any other game. It was very defensive. The Bills put up 3 in the first quarter. Ravens put up 3 in the second. But then the Bills were able to put up 14 in the third. And then they didn't put up any in the fourth. But it didn't matter because the Ravens couldn't put up any points in the second half. So that's where the Bills were able to win. And Lamar Jackson, he did get hurt. He was ruled out. And he threw that critical interception that could have put him on the board and put him a step closer, but it just didn't happen. So that really sucks to see. But hey, can't win them all. Things happen. But on the day, passing yards, Jared Allen only threw for 188 yards. Lamar threw for 190 rushing yards. The Ravens had more. They had 150, and the rush yards for the Bills were only 32. So, the Ravens were able to have more rushing yards, but we didn't see a difference there. So, that really hurts. Lamar Jackson was 14 for 24 for 162 yards. He had 1 interception, so didn't throw any touchdowns, which he needed to. Jared Allen did have a touchdown, 23 for 37 with 206 yards. So, the Bills were just able to put on more of a clinic. Their defense was just really able to stop Lamar Jackson. And, it's what they needed to do. And, kind of your outstanding player of the game for offense was Stephon Diggs, who had 8 receptions for 106 yards and 1 TD. Excuse me there. And, they, like I said, the Bills have just been playing well all year long. So, really cool to see. I know there's some Buffalo Bill fans out there. Shout out to Grace. I know you're a Buffalo Bills fan. So let's see how they play today versus the Chiefs. Let's see if they can get a win. I think that'd be super cool to see them go to the Super Bowl. So we'll just see. But so that just leads me back into the AFC Championship, which, like I said, it's the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills. And they play today at 6:40. So super excited to watch that one as well. I know Patrick Mahomes got hurt, but I heard he's playing today, so that definitely does make a big difference, having your star quarterback versus your backup quarterback. So the Chiefs have a very good offense. Tyreek Hill's, basically the fastest man in the NFL, and Travis Kelce, he's one of the best tight ends. I think he's the best tight end in the game, so we'll see what the Bills defense has to say about that. I think if they can contain him and they're able to play really well and not let Patrick Mahomes get out there and the Bills are able to stay on the field longer and everything like that, I think the Bills can win this game, and it's honestly where I'm going with it. I think the Bills are going to win. I think it'll probably be a defensive game, low scoring if the Bills' defense doesn't let Patrick Mahomes get out and just sling the ball and do what he wants. So I think this game is going to be 27-21. I think it's going to be, a 6 or 7 point game. So super excited to see, but I think the Buffalo Bills are going to come out on top. So like I said, super excited to watch this game. Can't wait. But you guys comment below what you think. Maybe my predictions are wrong. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers could be going to the Super Bowl. The Chiefs could be going, don't really know, but it's going to be super excited. Whoever goes, I feel like that's going to be a great game as well. And so I'll be back here to make another podcast. Who knows, I might get a guest on here, and we'll talk about it. So we'll just see what happens. So, but thanks everybody for listening today, and I hope you guys all have a fantastic Sunday.